Welcome to Essentially Soulful, as we explore the fascinating intersections of psychology and modern life. I'm Betty, and today we're diving into our digital personas and what they reveal about our inner selves. I'm here co-hosting with Deanna.
Hello, Betty. I'm glad to be here.
Today we're talking about something most of us are familiar with, creating digital versions of ourselves. From social media profiles to gaming avatars, we're constantly crafting these online representations. What first drew you to studying this phenomenon?
Well, what fascinated me was how people often create these digital personas without much conscious thought, yet these choices can be incredibly revealing. It's like we're unconsciously painting self portraits with every profile we create.
That's such an interesting perspective. Could you give us an example of how these seemingly casual choices might reveal deeper patterns?
Sure, think about gaming characters, for instance. I once had a client who consistently created characters with enhanced healing abilities across different games. Through our sessions, we discovered this reflected her deep seated desire to fix things in her real life relationships.
Oh, that's fascinating. So, these digital choices can actually serve as windows into our unconscious minds?
Exactly. These digital personas often reveal far more than we realize. They're like mirrors in a house of reflection, each one showing a different aspect of ourselves, some of which we might not even be consciously aware of.
I love that analogy. It makes me think about how we might present ourselves differently across various platforms. Why do you think that happens?
That's a great question. We often adapt our digital personas based on the context and audience of each platform. On LinkedIn, we might project professional competence, while on Instagram, we might express our creative side. These aren't necessarily contradictions, they're different facets of our whole selves. And yet, in a virtual world or gaming platform, what we create may more strongly represent our subconscious.
That reminds me of something interesting. If people have more than one digital persona, is this always a sign of inauthenticity?
Not at all. In fact, these variations can be quite healthy. Digital spaces provide safe environments to explore different aspects of our personality that we might feel unable to express in our daily lives.
Could you elaborate on that? How can this exploration be beneficial?
Think of it as a psychological sandbox. Someone who's naturally shy might use gaming platforms to experiment with being more assertive. Through their avatar, they can practice leadership skills or social interactions with less fear of real world consequences. Or someone in a virtual world may create an avatar that represents their inner child.
That's really powerful. It suggests these digital spaces could have therapeutic potential.
Absolutely. And we're seeing more therapists incorporate that work into their practice. It's particularly effective with younger clients who might struggle to verbalize their feelings directly.
I imagine there must be patterns you've observed in how people create these digital versions of themselves. What are some common ones?
One fascinating pattern is what could be referred to as aspirational avatars, digital personas that represent not who we currently are, but who we wish to be. These choices often highlight areas of our lives where we desire growth or change.
That's intriguing. Could you give us an example?
Sure, consider someone who consistently chooses usernames or avatars associated with strength and power, names like Titanium Warrior or Invincible Spirit. This might indicate someone working through feelings of vulnerability in their real life.
So these choices aren't just random, they're often expressing deeper emotional needs or desires.
Exactly. And what's particularly interesting is how consistent these patterns can be, even when people aren't aware of them. I've seen clients unknowingly tell their emotional story through their digital choices. And of course, I mentioned inner child work, which can be done as self reflection or through a guided process with a therapist.
So you are saying that becoming more aware of our digital persona choices help us understand ourselves better?
Definitely. Self awareness is key here. Once we start paying attention to these choices, they become powerful tools for self discovery. For instance, why do we use certain filters on our photos? Why do we present ourselves differently in professional versus social networks?
That's such a relevant point about filters. It seems like there's often a tension between authenticity and idealization in our digital personas.
Yes, and that tension itself is revealing. When we constantly feel the need to present an idealized version of ourselves, it might point to underlying self acceptance issues. But here's the interesting part: sometimes our digital personas can actually help us bridge that gap.
Bridge the gap? How so?
Well, think of it as a stepping stone approach. If someone creates a more confident digital version of themselves, they might gradually begin embodying those traits in real life. It's like using your digital persona as a practice ground for personal growth. This happens with avatar personas as well, for instance, creating an opposite body image to their own, or creating an avatar that is vivacious and extroverted, while the person behind the avatar is shy in real life interactions.
That's really interesting. For our listeners who want to start being more mindful about their digital personas, what would you recommend as a first step?
One way would be to take an inventory of all your online profiles and avatars. Look for patterns in how you present yourself. What aspects do you emphasize? What do you tend to hide? These patterns often reveal what psychologists call our ideal self versus our actual self.
Could you walk us through what that audit might look like in practice?
Of course, start by listing all your active digital platforms. For each one, note three things: how you present yourself, what aspects of your personality you emphasize, and how this differs from your day-to-day self. You might be surprised by what you discover.
Are there any common surprises people find during this process?
Yes. One of the most common realizations is how much their digital communication style varies across platforms. Someone might be very assertive on Twitter, but more reserved on LinkedIn, or more emotionally expressive on Instagram than they are in person. These variations often reflect different needs being met in different spaces.
That brings up an interesting point about authenticity. How do we balance being genuine while still maintaining appropriate boundaries in different digital spaces?
That's a crucial question, Betty. I believe authenticity isn't about sharing everything everywhere. It's about being intentional and genuine within appropriate boundaries. Think of it like choosing different outfits for different occasions. You're still you, whether in business attire or casual wear.
That's such a helpful analogy. Speaking of boundaries, what about the potential risks of becoming too invested in our digital personas?
Yes, this is important to address. While digital personas can be tools for growth, there's a risk of becoming overly dependent on them or losing touch with our authentic selves. It's crucial to maintain a healthy balance between our digital and real world presence. And if you are struggling, seek help from a qualified therapist.
What are some warning signs that someone might be too invested in their digital persona?
Look for signs like feeling anxious when you can't access your digital platforms, feeling that your online self is more real than your offline self, or experiencing significant distress when your digital presence doesn't receive the expected response. These could indicate an unhealthy attachment. Or if you are feeling emotionally dysregulated after creating an avatar persona much different from how you perceive yourself, this might be a reason to seek additional guidance.
Those are really important red flags to watch for. How can someone start rebuilding a healthier relationship with their digital personas if they notice these patterns?
The first step is actually what we discussed earlier: awareness. Start by questioning your emotional reactions to your digital presence. Then try setting boundaries, like designated offline times. Most importantly, work on strengthening your sense of self outside the digital realm.
This brings us to an interesting point about integration. How can we effectively integrate our digital and offline selves in a healthy way?
Integration is really about alignment rather than identical expression. Think about how your digital personas can complement and support your real life growth rather than replace or compete with it. Use insights from your digital expression to understand yourself better, but don't let it define you.
As we wrap up, what's one key message you'd like our listeners to take away from this discussion?
Your digital personas are powerful mirrors of your inner world. Use them consciously as tools for self-discovery and growth. But remember that they're just one part of your complete self. Stay curious about what they reveal, but stay grounded in your authentic core. If you decide you want a guide, be sure to choose a therapist who is open to your digital experiences and preferably has experience assisting others with their digital personas.
Thank you, Deanna, for these fascinating insights into how our digital personas can serve as windows into our psychological world. To our listeners, remember to check out our show notes for more resources, including 2 case study audio discussions reflecting inner child avatars. Until next time, we're signing off here at Essentially Soulful.